Welcome back to the Everyday Saint podcast. It is very exciting today because this is the start to season 8. Season 8 of the Everyday Saint podcast. That's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, you do 2 seasons a year and you start this when you're in college and all of a sudden now you're on season 8. So we have Shelby here to help us kick off season 8. As is only fitting, she was our very first guest ever. And I feel like you've been a guest a lot on first episodes of the season.
That is so sweet. I love it. I'm so happy to be back. And I cannot believe that it's the 8th season already. Like, it feels like yesterday that we were both sophomores in college, newly friends, sitting in the garden recording the first episode and then realizing that it wasn't recording the whole time and having to redo it.
Yeah. I was just about to ask, what do you remember from our first recording? Because you were literally like the first episode I ever did. Like, I had no idea how to do a podcast and then was trying to start it when we were abroad, like in Italy.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember sitting on the bench facing the library window of the villa. And then I remember having a really good conversation, blacking out a little, honestly. That kind of happens a lot when I am talking about God. And then you going over and going, none of that recorded, or like it stopped recording 30 minutes ago, or like something like that. And then we had to redo it. And I was like, that's okay. It was a great conversation. I'm happy to do that again.
That's so funny. Yeah, I kind of forgot that we had to re-record it. I was just picturing us sitting in then the library of the villa, which every time I said it, I hear in the back of my head, a new bombshell has entered the villa. But I remember sitting there, and in the library, we could hear like a toilet flush.
That's right.
And I couldn't stop laughing.
That's right. So was it the first one we recorded outside and then the re-record was inside?
Yeah, I think so. We put up little signs, recording in session. Please don't come in.
That's so funny. And we would both pause and giggle when the toilets flushed.
And I didn't know how to edit, so I think it's still up just like that.
That's hilarious.
Just as is. We talked about St. Faustina.
Yes, that's right. Oh,
remember that. And we talked about feelings and faith. It was like feelings, faith, and St. Faustina. I think that's the title. There's something like that, which is so funny now. 3 years. When did we study abroad, Shelby? 2022? 4 years later?
Yeah, all of 22.
No way.
It's been like, almost exactly 4 years. Because your birthday's coming up.
Yeah. No way. That just doesn't make sense in my head.
I know. It does not feel that long ago at all.
I had a different haircut. It was like to my shoulders.
Yeah, that was cute.
Remember that? The bob?
Yeah.
My mom cut it shorter than I asked her to. I remember that. I remember being mad about it.
Yeah. I had a perm.
Okay, she finished the haircut and she goes, "It's different than what you asked for, but I think you're going to like it."
Oh, no. That's not what you want to hear after
it's been done. After the damage has been done. And it looked fine. But it was shorter than I wanted it to be.
That's fair. It was very cute, though. I liked it.
Thank you. Sometimes I see it, and I'm like, maybe. But I like long princess hair.
Yeah.
I like when I curl the hair, specifically.
Yes. Yeah. I have that same thought every now and then. I'm like, what if I just chopped it again? Because, I have, like, pretty much always had short hair. I think this is the longest my hair has been.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
Ever. Thanks. I do really like the long hair. For me, personally, it makes me feel more feminine. Like, I feel like short hair is, like, boss babe chic. And, like, long hair is slightly more, like, feminine, soft. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh,
that's
for
how
sure.
I feel about it. I'm sure other people have different interpretations of it, but that's how I feel. And I'm just not in my boss babe era right now.
Well, it makes sense because if you have the long hair, it means that you have time to take care of said long hair and do the said long hair.
Yeah.
And if you're boss babing it up, you got time. I mean, but bobs take way longer, so it's kind of funny. It's almost like I think This is just a thought I had. A bob is the girl boss equivalent to a messy bun, where
Uh,
it's like
hmm.
you don't think you put any effort into it, but you actually put hours.
Yeah.
You're actually in front of your mirror for a minute.
Yeah. I could get on board with that. That's a good point, actually. I do miss my perm. I had a perm when we were in Italy.
I forgot about
It was
that.
really cute. I thought about getting another one before our honeymoon just to have that
Oh,
full circle. But obviously I have not, and I leave in like a
I
few
say
days.
T minus like
So
6 days.
yeah, which is crazy.
And you're not gonna go
So
see an Atchison hairdresser?
no, probably not. There is, okay, I will say though, we are friends with the lady who owns a salon in town, and I would trust her to do my perm. She's awesome.
Yeah, if anyone's been to Benedictine slash Atchison, you just know there's nothing there. You're getting
No,
Walmart level hair treatment
yeah.
in
This
this
new
town.
salon, it's pretty new. So I don't
Okay.
think it was there when we were in college.
Yeah.
But
There'd be a great market for it.
yeah, I think she's doing well. And her website is beautiful. And her salon is beautiful.
Good for
It's on
her.
Commercial Street. Yeah, so that's a slice. So there is an option in town now.
Wow. Atchison is growing.
Yeah, it is. Because, yeah, back in college, I'd wait till I went home on a
Mm-hmm.
break
Mm-hmm.
and go see my OG. I don't know where to get my nails done in Atch. I know there's a lady who I've heard really good things about, but I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. Gotta get on the press-on trend.
Yes, so actually, funny you say that. My cousin, who was my junior bridesmaid in my wedding,
Mm-hmm.
she makes like custom press-on sets, and they're beautiful. And she's doing them for the bridesmaids for my sister's wedding. And I asked her to make my honeymoon press-on set, and she made the cutest. They have like blue stripes and lemons on them, and they're so cute and perfect for like the Amalfi Coast. And I'm gonna do them on the plane on our way to Italy. So if you want me, I will send you her info, and she will make you custom nails and send them to you.
I'm in
And
pure
like,
shock. I didn't know
what?
that was a thing.
Yeah.
I've
And
never heard of that. That's so cool. And to do for your entire sister's bridal party?
yeah, isn't that so fun?
That is so fun. I literally just go to TJ Maxx.
Yeah, which is also great.
Yeah. Okay. This is big sister information. Now that we're almost 10 minutes into the episode and haven't talked about what our topic is yet, but this is important information. Okay. So I, first of all, TJ Maxx Nail Reformation is the brand I get. What I do, this makes them last 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks as a girl who uses her hands often. I'm always cooking. I wait just a couple days a week.
Yeah,
We're
like you're
using our hands. So two
yeah.
to 3 weeks without them coming off. Like these I had on, it's now Wednesday. I put them on last, oh, I guess it was only last Tuesday. It feels like it's been longer than that.
Still
But
over
for
a
not
week.
a single one to fall off or feel loose is
Yeah,
huge. So
that's impressive.
I like the Nail Reformation brand. I don't know if that brand specifically stays longer, but that was personally recommended to me, and I have not strayed away from it because they've lasted and they fit my nail really well. I think that's also a key. You have to find the brand that fits your nail really well. And then I buffed down the natural nail. Then I got a nail dehydrator, which is just like, for anyone listening that you haven't seen it, it's literally just like a polish. Like you just put it on your nails. It's nothing special. Then I get the Modelo brand. It has little bees on it.
Oh,
Have you
cute.
seen that? It's on Amazon. I think I actually have it linked to my Amazon storefront.
I
In
might
case
go
you're
visit that
wondering.
after this, actually.
So I do the nail dehydrator. Then I do a nail primer. Then
Mhm.
I buff the fake nail. Then I glue it onto my fingernail.
Genius.
And then they last. And even when they fall off, if you wanted to rewear them, you could buff down the glue off of the fake nail again and rewear them if you wanted to. I would recommend you get like an electric nail filer
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that.
Well, okay, so do you just use the glue that comes in the nail kit, or do you
Yeah.
have a glue preference? Okay.
Just the nail reformation glue that comes
Wow.
in the kit. I also recommend that over the stickies.
Yeah, the stickies don't,
I've never had those work. They
no.
kind of like go too high on my nail and then things get caught underneath the nail.
Yeah,
That's annoying when
yeah,
you're trying to shower and your hair keeps getting caught in your nails.
gosh.
I
Yeah.
think we can get purgatory time shaved off for that one.
I'd agree. My mom did get me really cute of those like sticky ones for Valentine's Day one year. And so I wore them like on Valentine's Day and then took them off.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very nice for her. But didn't you just make a post about this recently? Was it on your story?
It was on my story.
Yeah.
Because I just done these ones. They have little yellow.
So cute. I love the
They're
yellow.
so summery, butter yellow.
I'm going to have to send you a picture of the nails my cousin made me. They're so
Absolutely, you do.
They're so cute.
I really want to see that.
Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah. So for any holidays, if you ever want like super specific ones, let me know. Plugging.
I will. If I have any special events,
Yeah.
what if she...
me.
What if she made custom Fulton Sheen nails for when I go to his piano vacation?
Oh my gosh, that would be so funny.
I was trying to think of like what big life events do I have coming up, and it's like, oh yeah, I got invited to Archbishop Fulton Sheen's beatification, which is wild. First of all,
Yeah.
hello.
That's awesome.
Second of all, I don't know what that would look like for her to do custom nails for that, but that would be so funny.
Yeah, I also have no idea. Like, I don't know. The only thing I could think of is doing like a portrait of him, and I don't think that that might be too much.
That would be hard. That would be very difficult to do. Also, I don't know, like, just his like face on my finger.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's kinda weird.
do, like,
He's just like looking at me.
Right.
It's like, oh, you know, like the little like angel on your shoulder. It's Fulton Sheen on the finger.
Oh man.
I would just take a cute set of nails.
Yeah, you
that
could
one.
do.
If she could set, because I'll be in like little content creator hub.
Yeah,
I feel like that's like that's not for the girls, but like the people who will be there that would notice the nails, it'd be for the girls.
You could do like crosses and doves or something like that, or you could do
Yeah.
like everyday Saint branded nails, like your brand colors and stuff. That could be cute.
Yes. QR code.
Oh, that would be iconic, actually.
Can you imagine? Can I get your contact? Yeah. Oh, my fingernail.
my nail.
Fingernail. QR code. Scan it. That's next level.
That is next level. Anyways, that
Anyway.
was a really good girl tangent.
That was a good girl tangent. We were gonna introduce a new segment called Good and Giggle. Maybe we've been gooding and giggling.
That was a really aggressive laugh. I feel like my voice just lowered like 4 octaves.
It was. I was like, wait, I didn't think I was that funny.
It just like
Did it surprise you, Shelby?
Yeah, it did. It kind of scared me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh. My husband in the other room, like, what are you doing?
We're just recording a podcast.
Yeah. And you know, we always giggle when we're recording a podcast.
I think we've giggled enough.
I think so. I think that was probably.
So we'll introduce that next week, maybe when we have less updates. We kind of went on a tangent here, which is providential. Why, you ask? Just because that's our topic.
Providential because we said so.
Because we decided that it was going to be providential. Sorry. It's not that funny. I think it's just really late.
It is. I think
It's past my bedtime. Okay, usually I am sitting in my contemplative chair, crocheting and watching Castle.
You're watching Castle?
Yes. Have you watched? I'm on season 3, which I've heard is like the best season.
That's a really, really good season.
Mhm.
Eve, did you know that that's like my childhood show? That sounds
No.
bad. Like, Castle was my childhood show, but like from the
That's
age of like 10 on, there's a reason I'm so paranoid. Okay, because I was raised on Castle. No, but Castle, I love that show. I rewatch it probably once a year. For my birthday, my uncle for many years would get me a season of Castle on DVD for my birthday for 9 years.
Oh, oh
I
yeah,
love
because there's what, 8 or 9 seasons?
I think 9, yeah.
9.
Oh,
I didn't realize there was that many seasons. I was talking to Reagan, and I
yeah.
was like, Reagan, I've been watching Castle because she's a big TV show movie
Yeah.
girl, and she's like, oh, that's one of my favorite shows. Like
Yeah, so
by like
good.
season 8, it kind of gets, and I was like, season
Like,
8? I thought that I was like 2 seasons away from being done, and now I know that I'm going to be entertained for a whole lot longer.
Eve, I'm so happy you're watching it. It's so good.
It is very
After
good.
like season 6, I would say is kind of when it
It's
goes
hard
on.
to make anything last past. Honestly, I think most of like it doesn't matter how good it is, it should just always end at 4 seasons.
Yeah, that's fair. The season 5 is really good.
Okay. So I still
So
have things to look forward to.
you do. You do. And even in the bad-ish seasons, there's still some good parts.
Yeah.
And when you're done with Castle, you should watch The Rookie. That's the pipeline.
Oh, because is that the same actor?
Yeah,
I
Nathan.
thought so. He
Yeah.
looked so familiar. I was like, wait, is this the same guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't
wait,
know actors very well.
it's okay.
It is okay. Okay. Well, now that we've continued on a tangent,
Yeah.
Shelby, we were talking about what we wanted to like open up season 8 with, and I don't necessarily have an intro for this, but we wanted to talk about God's providence, which I just think is a tale as old as time, truly, to talk about God's providence because it's like one of the most difficult things to actually comprehend. But it's also such a good way to start off like a new season of the podcast and thinking back to who we were 4 years ago, having no idea what life would hold. And now we are here and like have 4 years of stories, like even like thinking back to what we thought about ourselves and about God 4 years ago, like our life has changed so much. And so as you maybe think about God's providence, is there like a story that comes to mind that you've seen? Or switching question, switching, she's a great podcast host. First question is she's switching it. What does God's providence mean to you?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because I was sitting praying today, praying about this podcast and being like, yeah, I kind of have been saying this phrase actually a lot recently. Like something happens and I just go, that's on God's providence. Like, I've just like, that's been one of an Eve-ism lately. But then I was like, what actually is his providence? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I've been on like a real kick lately of talking about God's providence. I was just talking with someone. We had a really it was at my sister's bachelorette party, actually with one of her friends. It's crazy because that friend, it has been one of her best friends since my sister was in 8th grade and she's turning 28 soon. So it's been like 20 years that she has been, no, not that long, but it's been a really long time. And I met this girl when I was 8 years old. And now I'm 23 and her husband were at my wedding and like seeing her at my sister's bachelorette party. And we were having a really good conversation about like how my life has been and the things I've learned about faith and the things I've learned about life and just the past couple of years. And we were talking about God's providence. And I was like, I really think that is what God was trying to drive home in my life, of teaching me to trust him in his providence, like the past 2 years, I would say. And I think kind of out of necessity when you're graduating college, there's really 2 options. You either try to control it and you're miserable, or you just like let it go and you just trust that it's going to be okay. And like, I feel like you kind of hit a crossroad where you kind of have to choose if you're going to trust or not. So I'd say like for me, God's providence has come to mean that even when bad things happen and it seems like there's no way out of this situation and you don't know what to do, God is already figuring it out for you and it's going to be okay. Like it may not be the good that you thought, but you're gonna, in a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, you're going to look back and you're going to say, oh, that's why that happened. And I like calling them the Easter eggs of my life when I look
Mm-hmm.
back. And I'm like, oh, that's why that happened. So later on, I could appreciate this thing more. Or like, that's why I thought that. That's why I prayed that, why it was so heavy on my heart, is so it would prepare me for this moment. Like things like that. So I think it goes beyond just physical things of like, God's going to give us what we need. Yes, like give us our daily bread. He's going to give us the sustenance we need. He's going to, all of the physical realm of things. But I think it also goes into the spiritual and emotional providence of God, of giving us the grace and the gratitude and the joy and the love that we need.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Because it really touches on the love of God. And that's what I was thinking about a lot too as I was praying about what is God's providence. And it's like, well, in order for God to be providential, that means that, like, by nature of that, it means He has to know what our needs are. And like we don't communicate those needs. It's just inherent to who God is that He knows what our needs are and then fulfills them. Before we have any semblance of what that looks like. Like we see that happen time and time again in Scripture. Like, you know, in the Old Testament, He provides the manna, which is like they need the food to survive. And you know what? Maybe it would have been nice to have some cinnamon sugar on that manna every so often, right? But they had manna. They had exactly what they needed, and they never had to ask for it. It was something that was always given to them. And we see that time and time again in the New Testament as Jesus heals people and does the miraculous and says the right thing at the right time. And even literally today, I was trying to think through like moments of God's providence. And this was like, He spoke to me right in that. And it was so, so funny. So I'm sitting in adoration in the church. And usually, yeah, it's not always like in the church itself, but today it was. And about a month ago, this is me now being vulnerable, but a month ago, and I told you about this already, but I was at the Given Institute Forum and they had an adoration night. And this adoration night just broke me. Like, there was so much I was learning about myself and just like really struggling to be vulnerable with God and know what that looks like. And like, there've been so many hurts and situations in my life when it came to God's providence, because it was like, wait, I thought I knew your voice in these things. I thought I had this plan figured out and I didn't. And now there's part of me that resents you for it. And it really felt like, and this is what I was realizing in that time of adoration at this conference, was just that I was holding God at arm's length and really felt this heavy feeling like loving God was a risk. And it was like, I felt almost a little intimidated to like really let Him in, because I was like, well, I've kind of been hurt before by what I thought was your plan, and then it didn't work out. So I don't want you to break my heart again so that I'm close to you. Like, I just don't want that. So I like just was like avoiding things. And in this time of adoration, we're sitting there, literally right in front of me is both a Divine Mercy image and a Sacred Heart of Jesus image, where Jesus is holding out His heart. And you can like see Him holding out the heart. Right next to it is like his pierced hand. And it's like He's presenting you this heart. And I like looked right at that and I just started weeping, because I saw this heart and I was like, Jesus is giving me His heart, and I don't know how to, one, accept His heart, but two, then do the same back to Him. Like I was like, Jesus, I see you giving me your heart, and I just don't know how to give it back to you. And I want to. Like, I want to do that with you. I want to love you. And that's what a relationship is like, maybe there's times that you're mad at that person and like upset with God, upset over things. But if you just push it down and don't talk to them about it, it's never going to heal. And I think the spiritual life can also work very similarly to that, because it is a relationship and because of our human nature. And so I had that whole thought, and then was in adoration today, thinking through what God's providence was. And just like I've been reflecting this last month on the heart of Jesus and letting him in and like learning what that looks like and being vulnerable with him and with others. And I was sitting in the pew, and in the hymnal, I see this little like card sticking out at the bottom. And it just happened to be how I was sitting that I could see this card. It wasn't in any other hymnal, just the one that was right in front of me. And I could just like barely see like the little corner sticking out of the hymnal. And so I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is. And I pull out the prayer card, and it is the exact same image that I was sitting in front of in adoration a month ago. The exact same Sacred Heart of Jesus image. Like, and there's tons of those out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a popular image to depict,
Yeah.
but it was the exact same painting.
Oh.
I was like, no way that like this is what I'm remembering now. And it also reminded me that God's providence, what they say about God and graces in general is that a grace remembered is a grace renewed. And that's often the encouragement that you hear when you're going through something like how do you get through something? How do you know God will take care of it? Well, it's like, okay, then you think through all the times that God has done good and bad before. And because you've seen how he works in the past, you know he's going to do this again now.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. A grace remembered is a grace renewed. So every time that we remember a moment that God has given us, God has shown his providence and his intentional love for us, like that grace is renewed in our life. And that's what gives us the grace to then continue on and trust that he's going to provide for you once again, that he knows your need, he sees your need, and not only does he know it, see it, but he also provides for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. I loved that. And that, like, I think for me, for a really long time, I didn't necessarily trust in God's physical provision. So like as we were talking about when I was defining what God's provision like kind of means to me, and I made that distinction between the physical and the like emotional and spiritual side of like the soul side of the provision, I think for the longest time I felt weird about asking God for physical or material things, like needs that I had. Because it's kind of like in my mind, I was like, yeah, he provided manna in the desert, but that was like Old Testament. You know, like he doesn't really do that now. He doesn't need to because we live in a world where, like, for me, I'm very grateful that I've never really wanted for anything. So I've never really needed to rely on him. But then there started to be times like in college and right out of college and the year after I graduated where there did end up being times where I was like, you know what? Like there are physical things that I don't know how I'm going to get. And it looks different. It's not necessarily food, thank goodness, but things like a job. Or like my husband and I, when we were still engaged, bought a car. I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before.
I don't think you have.
Okay.
Y'all know that I love a good book. In fact, I had a whole series dedicated to not boring Catholic books from a theology major who had to read a lot of boring Catholic books. But I have quite the summer read for you. Jacqueline Brown is an author who focuses on faith-filled, value-driven fiction. So we all know when you pick up that fiction book and you spend the whole time questioning if something's going to pop up that you really don't want to read. With Jacqueline Brown's books, you never have to worry about compromising your values and virtue. These books are clean, exciting, rooted in hope, perfect for the person who really wants to delve into meaningful characters and life's deeper questions through the lens of fiction. You can choose from 3 different series of this book, including the Light series, which goes into a post-apocalyptic world, answering the deeper question of who do you become when all else falls away. You can delve into the Awakening trilogy, which focuses on the difference of light and darkness and who do you become when you're rooted in prayer and courage. Or the Altered series, which explores the consequences of your choices through a mystery, thought-provoking series. So if you're looking for that perfect summer read, look no further than the link in the description below to read Jacqueline Brown's series now.
So my fiance at the time, now husband, we were trying to save to buy a new car because we both still had our cars that we had had for a really long time, and they were doing okay, but we knew that they were approaching their last leg. But we were trying to wait till we got married, wait till we had a few months of marriage done, could save up a little bit more to buy a nicer car. But one day, my fiance calls me and he goes, "We need a new car ASAP." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "My car broke down on the highway again. It's been breaking down for like the past week." And I was like, "That's awesome. Like, let's go today and get a car," because we both worked in different cities and he had a roommate who could kind of drive him, but they had opposite work schedules. So like, it was just really hard. And he lived 30 minutes from work. I was commuting an hour and 15 minutes. So it was like really, we needed two cars. Like, it was pretty rough with just one car. And so we went to the auto shop and we picked out a car and we bought it the same day. And it was like this great car and we were so excited and it was in our budget and we really loved it. And we were like, "This is great. This is going to be the car that like we raise our first kids in. Like, this is so special." And then about a month later, we had made one payment on the car and it got stolen while we were out of town at my bridal shower, actually. And we got back from the airport and it was gone. And in its place was just broken glass.
Perfect.
And yeah, we were like, "Okay, this is awesome." And we both my fiance was a little more upset than I was, which, fair enough. We both had different responses. I started laughing personally because I was like, "Yeah, of course this would happen. Why wouldn't this happen?" And he was more angry, which totally justified. My anger came later. So I'm just like, "Yeah, whatever." And I had this like overwhelming peace about it, which was really new for me because I'm very much a worrier and I'm like very anxious gal. So that peace was really new for me, but it was in that moment, I think that was definitely God's grace of he was like, "It's okay. Like, you're gonna be just fine. I see this. I see you. I see your struggle and I'm gonna provide." And so I just had this overwhelming peace about it. And his roommate drove us to the police station to file a report. And on the way there, we listened to "I Get Knocked Down, But I Got Up Again. You're never gonna keep me down." And we just laughed. And we got there, filed the police report. The policeman basically said, "I wouldn't hold your breath. We're not going to find it," essentially is what he told us. They kind of laughed at us too when we told them where it got stolen from. They were kind of like, "Oh, well, yeah, of course it would get stolen from there. That's a really sketchy part of town." And we were like, "Well, that's where he lives. So thank you for that."
Yeah, sorry, but this is just, we're fresh out of college. I don't know what you want to do.
Exactly. So that was kind of funny. Anyways, long story short, the insurance, thankfully it was insured, but that was like a months-long process. It was such a headache. And like, I was commuting almost 3 hours every day. And my husband was working a ton. He was working multiple jobs. And we were also trying to plan the wedding. The wedding was like 2 months out at that point. And it was really difficult for a long time. And like, my wedding shoes were in the car when it got stolen, and my like winter coat, and my chapel veil that was blessed by Pope Francis when we studied abroad, gone. And the crucifix that we had been given as a gift for our marriage prep, also taken. So it was like it was less about the car for me, honestly, and more about those like sentimental things that I was never going to get back. Anyways, they ended up finding the car. The car was totaled.
Perfect.
And so thankfully, like, insurance, we had a rental car and all this stuff, but it was just such a headache and just not what we wanted to be dealing with. And we were also like, we don't know what we're going to do once the rental car runs out. Like, we don't have the savings anymore to buy another car. We had like emptied our car savings to buy this car, and like insurance didn't pay us out for the total value of it, because like they never do. And so we still had a balance on the loan after insurance paid us out. And so we were like, well, guess we're rocking it with one car. And still making payments on this car that was stolen from us. So my parents called us, and my mom was the one talking on the phone and my dad was there, but my mom was speaking and she was like, your dad and I were talking and we've been wanting to get a new car anyways, and we would like to gift you our old car, which was like just the biggest blessing ever and super humbling. And we were like, we don't know how to accept a gift like that. And we were like, can we pay you for it? And they were like, no, we know you're flat broke. Like, we're not going to take your money. And we were like, okay. And so that was a huge gift. And not only the physical aspect of that, of we needed a second car and it was a really reliable second car, but it also is the emotional aspect of that's the car that my mom raised my sister and I in. Like, that's the car that I grew up being driven to school in, that she took me to dance lessons in, that we had a lot of like family road trips in. And so the thought of, God willing, that'll be the car that I have my first child and in, not in, hopefully.
Not literally.
But like, you get
God's providence gone wrong.
Yeah. 9 months from now, we're like,
little did we know.
oh, it's so funny.
Knock on wood that doesn't happen.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, so there was like God's providence in that moment is he didn't just provide for our physical need that we had to get a car, but also that emotional need of, my mom was like, it was going to be really hard for me to part with that car because she had all of the memories of our childhood attached to it. And so the fact that she got to give it to me to like make even more family memories in, it was like a gift for both of us, So that's like one example of just providence, of God just showing that he's not just going to provide for like this many of our needs. He's going to provide for this many of our needs. And for the people who are not watching but are listening, I made a really, really small circle and then I made a really, really big circle.
Take the picture in case anyone was curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, and then it like just calls to mind the things that we should be asking God for. And like knowing that he does listen to our prayers. Because like it's easy to need something and to not think that God is going to provide for it in that moment. Like and to not even know to ask for it.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to ask God for things. It's like, what makes us think that he doesn't want to give us good things?
Right.
It's a whole, the verse that kept coming to mind was the one that says something about like what good father gives his son a snake when he's asked for, I don't know what the son asked for instead, but do you know what I'm, the verse I'm talking about?
I know the parable you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's like, that's how God works. It's like he hears any and all of our prayers.
Yeah.
And answers them. And it's like, are we paying attention to what our needs are to ask him, having the confidence that he's going to answer them, and then also pay attention to what God is giving us and thanking him ahead of time. I think that just popped in my head too. Like, I feel like I heard that a lot when I was growing up, like, thank God ahead of time. I never thought anything of it. And it's like not even a practice really that I've been doing lately. And now I'm like thinking to myself, like, I really should be doing that, like thanking God ahead of time for the ways that he's going to provide. Because I think those little moments too, again, kind of going back to even that theme of a grace remembered is a grace renewed. But when we're paying attention to that and paying attention to the little moments that God's providence has fallen through, like, or as he's followed through on his providence and his promises to us, it's like those are moments that we are trusting in God, right? Like that's what providence really is. To see it through is to actually trust that God is going to take care of you and that you can lean into him and that he can handle that. Because I know there's been times like in my prayer life where I've been sitting there like saying like, Jesus, I trust in you. And there was once I literally like felt like I heard this back where I was like, Jesus, I trust in you. And I just felt like a girl, no you don't.
That's funny.
I was like, oh. I was like, you're right. You're right. Called out, for sure. It's like we can say that all we want. And I think it's good to say, even when you don't feel it. But at the same time, you have to actually learn how to trust in God and what that means. So I guess that's then my question to you, Shelby. Like when we think about God's providence, like yes, we can see it on the other side, but when you're going through it, what's helped you to actually trust in God?
Honestly, like, kind of just him showing up for me, honestly, and starting to, like, practice more gratitude and noticing. I just have to say we have been so abundantly blessed the past year or so, past 6 months even, 'cause I was kind of struggling out of college, struggling to make ends meet, like, trying to figure out the future, all of this sort of stuff, and it just kind of I got in this, like, mindset where things just seemed to be going wrong all the time, and I got really ungrateful and just, like, in a negative headspace to where I wasn't noticing the blessings as much. And, like, granted, we did kinda have a streak of bad luck, it felt like.
You did. Yeah, I
And
think so.
and it just got really tiresome, and we were both just kind of, like, at our wits' end with it. But then it was like it was there that I kind of hit this moment of just, like, radical surrender, and I was like, "You know what? I've got nothing to lose, and I'm just gonna." And this was also starting to work at the Abbey has been so transformative, and
Mm-hmm.
just learning from the monks there and learning from my coworkers even, they're all just such holy people. And that was God's providence right there. Honestly, getting that job changed my life completely. It changed my heart posture, it changed my soul posture, completely changed our lives for the better. And having that community of people praying for me constantly and having a place where I felt like I was truly loved and valued. And I hadn't really felt that sense of community in a really long time. Like in college, I had good friends, but all of my friends were kind of in their own pockets. I didn't really have like a strong sense of community. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, and it makes sense too because it was like post grad, you just don't.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
your life, you go from literally being overstimulated and seeing people that you know all the time to not.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I had moved to this new city where I only knew 4 people, and all of them had their own people, so it was kind of hard, kind of lonely. But I found this community in the workplace that was really inspiring. And that was kind of a turning point of starting to recognize little moments of God's providence. And getting that job and being there made me reflect back on all of the years leading up to it, of all of the prayers I had prayed that I had forgotten were like coming to mind, of like wanting to have a workplace that was community centered, wanting to work for a nonprofit, but not knowing what that would look like, wanting to stay in the religious sector, but again, not knowing what that would look like, being a journalism and communications major without working for a huge publication, which isn't exactly what I wanted. And so that was really special. And then since then, the blessings have just been really flowing. So I think gratitude was a big part of realizing God's providence, and not being afraid to speak about it and to ask God for things, kind of like you were saying earlier. Something that's been on my mind as we've been talking is that trusting in God's providence is going to come across as a super radical idea in our society. And you're going to sound like a crazy person. That's kind of what I've come to realize, like, as I've been talking with people in my life, and I know it probably doesn't seem like it because I'm on this podcast all the time talking about my faith, but I'm pretty private with my faith in my life. I don't really openly share it with too many people. And yeah, so I'm not one to, in normal conversation with people, speak super openly about like, God's doing this in my life. I've been hearing this in prayer. Like, that's just not really my personality. But the way my life has been transformed, it's almost just become necessary for me to speak like that, because my life has been so radically transformed in the past year with just abundant blessings, that like now when I talk, even when I was home last weekend talking with my parents, I know that they trust in God's providence too, but I was just, the way I was speaking about it, I was like, I probably sound like I'm insane to them. And I think I sound like naive and like young. I don't know. Because there were these things that I was like telling my parents, like, we want to do this. Like, we're hoping for this for our future. And they were kind of like, how is that going to work? What about this, this, and this? And I was like, I trust in God's providence, that if that's a desire He's put on my heart, He's going to make a way for it to happen and to be good. And they were, it just sounds like it's a pretty radical idea.
Yeah, no, this reminds me of during a Bible study I was in yesterday, actually. We were going over what the gospel will be for this Sunday, which now, if you're listening, no, actually, we haven't been doing the gospels. I take it back. But it is in the Gospel of John. And it's the passage where Jesus spits in the clay, or spits in the ground, makes clay, puts it on the blind man's eyes. He goes, washes it off, and is healed. And when we were talking about this, one of the girls was like, I always picture this happening as like this 16 to 18-year-old guy that's just like, all of a sudden he was sitting begging on the street. I mean, he's young enough that they go ask his parents. The Pharisees go ask the parents, was this man actually blind? Was your son actually blind? Like trying to figure out if this is a miracle. And here this guy is, he's like talking to the Pharisees. He's like, the Son of Man came up, this guy named Jesus, he came up and he healed me. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know where he is, but I'm telling you that I was blind and I can now see. And the Pharisees will not accept that. They won't. They keep saying, I don't know about that. And he, like, and as we're picturing this as like this, like 16 to 18-year-old, just like kind of like angsty, like coming back time and time again, being like so bold, like talking back to the Pharisees, being like, no, I'm telling you what has happened. This man has provided, and he has made me see where I could not see before. And I don't know who he is. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he looks like. And here he's come and he's provided. And he sounded crazy to them, because they didn't want to believe the miracle that had taken place. And it reminds me exactly what you're talking about, because I read that and I was like, I want to be as bold in my faith life as this man was.
Yeah.
That he was so confident in what God had to say that he was willing to go to the people of authority, the people that should know the most about God, and try and change the way that they viewed God because of what he had just encountered. Like that encounter with Christ changes your life radically. And when you can have that kind of boldness and faith, like, yeah, that will change your life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And true trust requires boldness, I think. And yeah, it just is. And again, God's going to provide that courage, like if you ask for it, if you're ready to receive that, God is going to give it to you tenfold. And it's just, it's just a beautiful thing. And it's also kind of like, He's blessed my life so much that I have a lot of things to back it up. I'm like, no, this isn't just something, like, I'm not just talking out of my head. Like, look at what God has done for my life. I've got receipts, okay?
Yeah. We have the proof. Proof is in the pudding.
Yes, exactly. And like, even prayers that I haven't even said out loud, like prayers that I have just thought to myself, which obviously God knows, have come true. It's not like a genie, it's not like you're wishing for these things and they come true. It's only if it's for your good. But like, when my husband was looking for a job, so this is another story of God's providence, but so my husband, when we moved back to Atchison, when we got married, he got a job here, and he wasn't really sure if it was the right fit, and I didn't really feel like it was the right fit, but we were kind of like, you need a job, and they're offering you one, so like, just take it, and we'll course correct later if we need to. Like, you can still keep looking for jobs and stuff. And then on day 3, it didn't work out. They told him not to come in. He wasn't what they were looking for, and it was really unexpected. And so we were like, okay, well, crap. Now he doesn't have a job. I had my job, so we were like, it's gonna be okay. Like, we can survive on my income for a little while. But I think it wasn't even like a week later, he got a new job that was even better. That was way more what he was wanting to do, with people he really liked, that has a lot of opportunity for growth, that has like benefits and full time and all of this stuff that we had been praying for that we didn't know if we were going to find in Atchison for him. And it was like in that moment in between his jobs, when he didn't have a job, and he came home and he told me, he was like, like, I don't have this job anymore. And I was like, you know what? That's okay. That's just God's redirection for our life, because God has been really bold in redirecting our life and providing for us and showing us exactly where we're supposed to be when. And that's a huge grace. And so, like, that was just another example of God's providence for us in the past 4 months. Like, it just has been grace after grace and, like, provision after provision. And yeah, just, I think those moments are there, even if they're not as big and bold as like a job and a car are. There are always little moments of provision every day. I think if you just like look for them, that's where gratitude comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're at about time here, so I kind of want to end like everything that you shared was so good. And just like even thinking like there's the practical things of like paying attention to it, right? Like as you're saying, like all these little things. I think even adding on to that, like in order for you to be able to pay attention to the provisions of God, you have to know who He is.
Mm.
You do. You have to put yourself close to Him and in proximity to Him. And one of the things that's helped me the most, especially when you're going through difficulty, because I find it so easy to sit in adoration when I'm feeling sad and just marinate in that sadness and like only think about the situation going on in my life. And it's good to talk to God about those things. But when that's like the entirety of your prayer time and time again, is sitting and thinking about those things, like that's where the issue can come up, because then you're not always like actually praying. You're just kind of like sitting and like letting yourself just sit in the sadness of it. And so something that's helped me in that is like opening up my Bible and like reading the Gospels, especially, and seeing the way that Jesus worked. Because I can see, like, I think the Gospels recently have just been coming alive to me in a whole new way. And reading the way that Jesus loved other people and really trying to place myself in those shoes. Be like, where am I at in this scripture? Where is Jesus at? What does he look like? What does it look like when he looks at the woman at the well? What does it look like as he's like looking at this woman wipe off his feet with her hair? Like, really put yourself in those moments, because when you start being able to picture Jesus, like the same Jesus that was so loving then is the same Jesus that's loving you now. And you can take so much confidence in that, and take confidence that like you can know who the Lord is by putting yourself close to him. So really like bring your Bible with you to adoration. Just read for a little bit in the morning and really reflect on it. Don't just read for the sake of like intake of information. Read in order to actually reflect and put yourself in that moment. Because I think in doing that, and then like that's what the Bible is. It's like a whole story about God's provision for humanity. Like the way that he's looked out for us and the way that he's saved us. That's what scripture is. So if you need like slap in your face, figure out who Jesus is, figure out how he's working in your life, pick up the Bible. Like it really is that simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, actually pray with scripture, write it down, stick like with one story in the Bible and keep coming back to it if that's what's helpful to you. But like he is there and he is present.
Yeah. Do your Lexio. That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, one more practical tip before we're at time. Gator and I, when we got married, started this morning prayer, and we wake up, and we haven't done it in a while. We need to get back into the habit of it. But say, as soon as you wake up, something that you're grateful for, your prayer for the day. And then this is a prayer that my mom would always say, be with me today, Lord, and help me to be with you. And so, like, right there, you have that gratitude of recognizing how God has already provided for you at the very start of your day, just opening your eyes, and then asking Him for something. So, trusting that He's going to hear your prayer and trusting in His providence as a loving Father. And then just that simple, be with me today and help me to be with you, to remind yourself that you're constantly in His presence and that He's constantly with you.
Yeah, that's so sweet. I feel like that's a good prayer to end off on too. Just like, yeah, put yourself close to God. Know that He's near you, that He's with you, and to pray the prayers even when you don't necessarily believe it. You know, like that, like the Jesus I trust in you prayer. Like here, every time you say that, you're not always going to really feel like you trust in Him, but ask God for a greater trust in Him, and He wants to be able to be there for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Well, thank you, Shelby, so much for coming on, and for celebrating a new start to the season with me. This is crazy. New podcast cover. Same podcast, but new cover, new season. I'm so excited to see what this year holds too. Especially because it's like I feel like we have a whole year after graduation under our belts, so I can only imagine like what's gonna happen in the next year. Hopefully a lot less crazy transition wise. But we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of stability for us.
Catch us in a year. See what happens. That's on God's providence.
That's on God's providence.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for listening, and thank you, Shelby, for coming on.
Thank you, Eve.